What's up, guys? This is Mark here, the world's strongest man. You're listening to Bob Culture Podcast.
Hello, I'd like to welcome you to paradise, where everyone is riding on a satellite, sending signals, praying for miracles. We should have seen this coming. Hear me out, because I'm only gonna say this one more time. Hear me out, and open your eyes and take a look at all the signs. You think I'm crazy, but I'm not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a very, very special 80s Wrestling Con 4 edition of the BCP, ladies and gentlemen. We are very happy to welcome back to the show, by now a first ballot BCP Hall of Famer. You know him as the head honcho of ISPW, the head honcho of 80s Wrestling Con. He was the one to watch. We're still watching him. He's killing it right now. He is the founder, owner, director of all these great wrestling promotions. And of course, got to shout out the Wrestling Collector Store. Please welcome back to the show our good friend, Mr. Tommy Fierro. Tom, welcome back, man. How are you, bro?
Brother, the check's in the mail after that intro.
I got you. Not my first rodeo, man. But seriously, dude, how's everything? It's good to talk to you again.
Hey, man, it's great to talk to you also. First off, I'm not doing nearly as good as you are because
All right.
I am friends with you on Facebook, and I see some of these pictures of this unbelievable food that you've been posting.
Oh,
that my homegirl Vicky's cooking down there. Man, you living that good life, brother, huh?
It's no joke, man. We had Dad over yesterday. We had some meatballs. We had buffalo chicken dip, man. I can't complain, man. Things are good, man. But and thank you for shouting that out. But I got to say this, man. Very excited to have you back on the show because 80s Wrestling Con 4, we are back, man. We have seen you navigate a pandemic. We've seen you keep this con going no matter what. We saw over here in Freehold at iPlay. Now we're back at Men in Sports Arena. We had a great time last time. 80s Wrestling Con 4. Did you know going into 2023 that you were going to bring this back and back at Men in Sports Arena? Is this going to be an annual thing as long as you can keep it going?
I'll tell you what, it's funny that you said that because when 80s Wrestling Con 3 was over, like that night, like and you were there the whole day, so like it was a huge, like I was there the day before, obviously setting up, and then like just that long day, and then after that the show at nighttime, like I was so like mentally, physically, and emotionally drained at the end of it. I'm like, this is just too much work. I can't do this anymore. And then like 2 months later, I couldn't wait for the next one. So yeah, man, it's definitely going to be an annual event. Something that it seems like is becoming a staple for the convention scene up this way. People look forward to it, man. And all you can do, it's like it's tough because you know, I'm limited to what I could do just because if it is 80s Wrestling Con.
Yes.
There's so many guys that are unfortunately no longer with us, and also the majority of the guys I've already used in some way, shape, or form in the past. So like you got to get creative with it, and I got a lot of new guys I've never had before on this one. But like I'm also introducing different elements into the convention. I'm sure we'll talk about it throughout the podcast. But like one thing is like, so I have the Powers of Pain and Demolition there. So we're going to do a photo op where you can get your picture taken with all four of those guys. Obviously a classic feud from the golden era of the WWE. And then for NWA, we have Nikita Koloff and Magnum TA both going to be there. So, you know, you might have had an opportunity to meet both of those guys in the past. I've never had them. But, you know, there's an opportunity we get a photo op of both of them in the picture with you. And then a really unique photo op we're going to be doing there is we have Wendy Richter and Leilani Kai. Now, this is a WrestleMania 1 match. So how cool is it going to be? The fans can get literally get a piece of wrestling history on their telephone by getting in the picture with Wendy Richter and Leilani Kai tugging on a replica of that women's title from back then with you in the middle. Actually take a picture of a WrestleMania match with you in it. So it's going to be pretty cool, man. Just trying to think outside the box. A ton of different special attractions and events we're doing during that day and night. So I'm sure we'll be talking about it.
That's awesome, man, and I'm very excited, man. And not your first rodeo, Tommy, because that was kind of my next question, man. And you already kind of answered it, man. Same wavelength, but it's like, yeah, you don't always want to bring the same people back. People are getting older now; they're not always down to come down and do these conventions, man. And I noticed as you were putting out the announcements, I was like, he's changing it up. I'm looking at some of the matches for the Rock and Wrestling that'll follow 80s Wrestling Con. We're seeing names like Carlito, Val Venus, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Dirty Dango, Eugene. It's very cool. It's a nice mix. We also have Powers of Pain, like you mentioned. It's a very, very nice mix, but don't want to bury the lead here. You kind of answered how you're changing it up a little bit, but is this your first time bringing in or working with the likes of, Bret Hart?
Yeah, actually, it is actually it was on my bucket list for, I did a bucket list in 2022, like what I want to do. Like, I realized I never worked with Bret Hart before. It's crazy. As long as I've been promoting him, and he's been around, quite a bit, but I've never used him. So yeah, I'm really excited to have him. And again, I'm gonna, spin it a little bit different way than other people do. And there's going to be unique opportunities there where you can get a autographed pair of Bret Hart sunglasses, replica Bret Hart sunglasses. I'm going to have some boots available. You'll be able to get an autographed boot of Bret Hart. So just, trying to, stay outside the lanes that everyone else is staying in, and just trying to switch it up as much as possible. But yeah, man, I never had Bret before, believe it or not, and I'm really excited about it.
That's amazing, and I got to send this to Nunez because that's his guy. That's his number one. At the last 80s con, he was literally wearing the signed glasses, so I know he's going to ask Bret to put the glasses on him or something like that when he goes and gets another autograph. So that's amazing, man. Very excited for that. I wanted to talk to you about this because last year's event was so amazing. Just having so many people there from all over independent wrestling, 80 stars. We had a live band play, a lot of great matches, a lot of moving parts, long day. You are in business mode. I totally get it, man. So what's the structure for fans listening right now between 80s Wrestling Con and I believe the Rock and Wrestling event? How is this all coming together?
Okay, good question. And last year, and sometimes, you do something and you learn from your mistakes. And I did that last year. See, I had the convention in the daytime and I had the show at nighttime. The problem was there was too much of a gap in between the balls. And not only that, but there was also, I don't know if you remember this or not, but WWE actually added a show the night of 80s Wrestling Con in Trenton.
Yep.
Which was their first, which was, I believe, might have been their first show back after the pandemic in New Jersey. And it was like a month. They added the date like a month before, like a month and a half before the show, which was odd that they released something that soon. But yeah, so that hurt. There was a lot of other big shows that day, but I think that the structure of it, as far as timing wise goes, so I'm tightening up the ship this time, big time on it. So what the outlook of the day is going to look like is, see if I can pull this up here. I had it written down earlier. I can just wing it pretty much. So it starts at 11 o'clock. The doors open at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And then Bret Hart is going to start signing immediately at 11 o'clock, an hour before everybody else. I like to do that because I don't think that, everyone's going to jump online for Bret right away, right? And
yes.
you go to different conventions, you see a lot of times you have, three big guys on it, and everyone is on the line for those three big guys, and everyone else is just pretty much sitting there twiddling their thumbs, no matter how big of a name they are. So I think that if you start Bret an hour before everybody else, it gets the line moving right away. So I'm a big component of that idea. I think that you start everyone an hour after the big star starts signing, and it frees up the room a little bit. So instead of everyone waiting online, you now got the room flowing. So I'm going to do that, and then everyone else will be signing from 12 to 4 throughout the day. We're going to have a ton of different activities and events going on. I read a list of guys currently signed to be there. So it's going to be Bret the Hitman Hart, the Beverly Brothers, Demolition, Dory Funk Jr., which I'm extremely excited about. This is the first time he's going to be up here in a while. Dr. D. David Schultz, the Killer Bees, Lanny Poffo, Lalani Kai, Magnum TA, Manny Fernandez, Mr. Hughes, Nikita Koloff, the original Midnight Express, Papa Shango, Skinner, the Powers of Pain, Tommy Rich, Tony Atlas, Virgil, Wendy Richter, and then the special attractions throughout the day. So while these signings are going on, it's not, and you know, because you were there last year and other ones in the past, but anyone that hasn't been there, it's not like you're going to, like, you go to these other conventions, it's nothing like any of them. So if you go to the big event or you go to Legends of the Ring or Icons in Philadelphia, and my hat off to all those guys. I have no problem with any of them. I hope everyone can make $1 million. The difference between me and my thing and theirs is that, like, you'll attest to this because you've been to all of them, and even the Baltimore Fan Fest, like down there, like mine is more of it's more of an event than it is a signing, because there's 1,000 different things going on during that day. So like during the day, we're going to be having one of the really cool things is the kids of 80s wrestling. We're going to do a Q&A and meet and greet with them, and they're going to tell stories, and they're going to relive the childhood heroes through the eyes of their children, which is really cool that you get to sit there and listen to this and be a part of this. And then it's going to be Paul Orndorff's son, Earthquake's son, Big Boss Man's daughter, the big British Bulldog's daughter, Nikolai Volkov's son, who is in real life Andy Weinberg, the winner in ISPW. He will be on that panel as well, along with the big one, Andre the Giant's daughter.
Oh, so, wow.
What a cool opportunity it's going to be able to sit there and listen to what it was like growing up as the children of our childhood heroes. So I'm excited for that. And then another big thing we're doing at 80s Wrestling Con is the 80s Wrestling Lifetime Achievement Award. We're going to be giving that to Randy Macho Man Savage. And accepting it will be his brother, Lanny Poffo. And a cool twist of that is our man, Danny Morrison, the superstar, formerly Danny Doring from ECW. He was a gigantic Macho Man fan, just like all of us. Yeah. But I'm going to give him the honor of presenting Lanny Poffo with the award. So it's going to be real special for Danny as well. Here's the cool thing, man. Talk about different events and things going on. Me and you are both avid listeners of Busted Open Radio.
I'm so hyped, bro. I'm so hyped for this.
They're going to be doing a live Busted Open Radio right at 80s Wrestling Con. So, I mean, it doesn't get bigger than that for me and for you, because I know that you listen to the show every day like I do.
Every day. Every day.
Yep, me too, man. So that's going to be really cool. We're going to be doing that there live. Another really cool thing we're going to be doing is, you know that Tony Atlas is an artist. His pictures are awesome.
Yes.
You can actually draw. We're going to have an art class with Tony Atlas. You can draw a picture with Mr. USA Tony Atlas at 80s Wrestling Con. Another cool thing we're doing is 80s Wrestling Karaoke. You can get up there and you can belt out your favorite 80s wrestling theme song. So when I send you that mic over, Rob, I want to hear "Grab Those Cakes" the best you can do. All right?
Oh man, I'll stick to the drums, man. We'll let I'll stick to the drums, man. But it's bad news.
We got that, and then we're debuting a couple new activities for the fans to participate in at 80s Wrestling Con. We are going to do 80s Wrestling Family Feud, Rob.
What?
So we're going to have 2 teams of 5. And we're going to do 80s Wrestling Family Feud. And we're also going to do 3 lucky fans will be picked out for an opportunity to play 80s Wrestling Jeopardy. It's all going to be at 80s Wrestling Con.
That I'm hyped for all the things you said, but those last I legit popped when you said 80s Wrestling Jeopardy and Family Feud. That's brilliant. I'll give you flowers now, Tommy. That is brilliant. I'm not just saying that. I'm hyped for that. I'm trying to think, like, how can I be present for all these things, man? There's so much going on. It's an event, man. Really well done, man. Hats off to you. Real quick, and we'll get this in at the end too. Real quick, where can people get their tickets? Get involved with this event, all that good stuff.
Yeah, man. So tickets are available right now for 80s Wrestling Con, and all the autographs and photo ops and whatnot. That's on 80swrestlingcon.com. Once again, that's 80swrestlingcon.com. Also, we're recording this on Monday. When this drops, tickets should be available or be available later this evening for Rockin' Wrestling, immediately following 80s Wrestling Con, which I'm sure we're going to get into in just a moment. Yeah, so that'll be posted tonight as well. So yeah, tickets are on sale, and we're kicking off, and we're on our way, man.
Awesome, man. Very well said, dude. I'm really hyped. Like, I'm glad to be a part of it last year. Like, and I know you're like, oh, we learned from our mistakes and yada yada. But honestly, it was a smooth running shit, man. Like, so much. I think like the biggest thing, like the ATMs are running out of money because it was just so huge and there were so many people, and I'm sure we'll be ready for the next big thing. I'm very excited for this. And let's be real, man. WWE, they might try to run again because they're paying attention. They know who Tommy Fierro is. All right, they're keeping an eye. Tommy's making some noise over in the Northeast. Oh, there are gonna be a lot of wrestling fans up there. So but Tommy's running that day. So let's keep that in mind.
Hey, or they could have heat with Jesse Ventura last year. Maybe that's why.
That's what it was. Yeah, there it is. I want to.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say you're talking about smooth running. It's funny because so many people came up to me, and you were there, so you can test this as well.
Yeah.
Like last year, like so many people came up to me, like they're coming like, "What? You look so calm." Like I was walking around, like they're like, "You look like I wasn't running around like with a chicken with its head cut off." Like the ship was running itself pretty much,
Yes.
So yeah, man, I'm excited. Hopefully those ATMs run out again, man. That'd be a great thing, wouldn't it?
Good problem to have. Exactly, man. Good problem to have, man. And you did a great job that day. Like I'm thinking back, there wasn't anything. I was like, oh, you could do this better. This is like we had a great time. We got to sit down and interview some people. We got to talk to Dave, who and let's put him over now, man. Dave has just been so kind to us. He's been such a big proponent of Vicky, just like you have, man. He is always at your store, man. Always taking a lot of those ISPW storylines too, busted open. And it's not because he has to. It's because he's a genuine fan. He enjoys it. Let's be real. We saw the very first La Greca Lean that is sweeping the nation. We're going to have a La Greca Lean contest on the 20th. Just talk about working with Dave and what he means to you, man, because he has just been amazing.
Yeah, man, and he means a lot to me. Tell you what, he's the most selfless person I think I've ever met in the wrestling business. He goes out of his and you listen to the show every day like I do, so he goes out of his way. Literally, he'll find a way to mention the Wrestling Collector Store or ISPW or Tommy Fierro. Like he always is dropping those names. Like you'll hear him at least a couple times a week on the show, and I'm so grateful for that, man. Like he's a really, really, really good guy. It's funny. He actually went to. He grew up with my cousins. He went to school with my cousins.
Oh wow!
So small world in Hawthorne. He went to school with my cousins. So like we have that kind of connection going. Like we just met a couple of years ago. But we have obviously we have the bond of professional wrestling, and also like he was friendly with my cousins when he was younger. And the coolest part is that he only lives about 15 minutes away from my store. So yeah, he drops in all the time, and we hang out and we bullshit. And he like I said, he's selfless, man. He's done so much to help me promote my brands over the last year. I can't even begin to tell you how many times he's mentioned either the store, ISW, or me on Busted Open, which is the #1 wrestling radio show in the world, man. So like it's big. I appreciate him greatly.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's one of those things where I am most excited probably for that during May 6th, guys, of course, at Menace Sports Arena, Morristown, New Jersey. Get your tickets now. But that's the thing I'm most excited for is like if I get a minute and they're broadcasting, I'll sit down there with a notepad, me and my guys just take notes because he's so smart and his guys are great. I don't always agree with Bully, but Bully is brilliant in his he should have the pencil somewhere. Tommy, Mark, they're all they're fantastic. Yeah. Thunder, Mickey, they're amazing, man. So that is so cool. I'm excited for Family Feud now too. I got to see that play out. It's gonna be amazing, man. But let's talk shop a little bit. We got some wrestling going on at this event too. Rockin' Wrestling. It's gonna be after the convention, man. A lot of great matches, and I love that you mix up the talent. We're going to see Snitsky. We're going to see Brian Kendrick, Carlito, Val Venus, so many names in the ring with your ISPW talent. But we were talking about Dave LaGreca. Let's talk about Rick Recon with Dave LaGreca taking on Bull James with Maven, Earl Hebner, who's always so incredibly nice, special guest referee, and Jay Alford. We got a New York dude. It's like, is this my birthday? Like, what's happening right now, dude? Maven will be handcuffed to Dave LaGreca. I mean, there's so many moving parts here, but it works here. Tell us about the booking here, and what do you expect here? We got Bull, Rick Recon, big personalities. We got bigger personalities outside the ring with Dave and Maven. Them handcuffed together, man. This could be you might need to bring in some extra security, bro. This might be crazy.
So, yeah, I'll tell you my line of thinking behind this. So, and again, this match is based on the fact that Bull is still the champion come May. Obviously,
right.
that match will change if he's not.
Of course.
But going into it, yes, I structured the show much differently this time for a couple of different reasons. One, you'll see I have another match coming out that you'll see a lot of the regular ISW guys will be a part of. To be a pretty cool, unique concept that really hasn't been done before. So you will see the ISW guys on the night show. But you'll also see a few matches during the convention, which I think is really big. I think that you're going to have, people from literally last year we had people from 37 states and 7 countries come in for the 80s Wrestling Con. So, I think it's a really unique opportunity because obviously they're not all going to stay for the night show. So I think it's a great opportunity to have these younger guys be seen in front of fans from literally all over the world. So we have a couple matches during the day at the convention as well. So it's going to be really unique experience for whoever gets that. So yeah, my phone at the Wrestling Collector is
do what you got to do, man.
No, man. I put it on mute.
This guy, he's popular. That phone's gonna be ringing all day, man. After these announcements.
Hey, man, after you post this, it'll be ringing all day, man.
Yep.
You're over like next phone,
Yeah.
So,
nice.
What I was to say is this: so my train of thought going into this is you're gonna have people from all around the world coming in, because I did all the orders last year and saw where they're all coming from. So I want to give them more of a reason to stay for the show at nighttime. That's why some of the guys that are super popular around here, Jimmy from Alabama that's coming might not know who he is,
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to put more, star power on the show to entice those fans. I mean, we're going to go over the lineup. It's pretty stacked show, so it's going to be hard for me to see fans not wanting to see that show. So that's why I booked it that way. And then from the main event, you said the reasoning behind that. So yeah, I wanted to make sure I had the ISW title match as the center point of the show, obviously,
Yeah.
So I want to make it special. Earl Hebner as the referee of the ISW title match automatically gives it credibility, a ton of credibility. You have Maven and LaGreca, who have a ton of history with each other in ISW on the opposite sides. Have them handcuffed to each other. I mean, how entertaining does that sound right off the bat? Maven and LaGreca handcuffed to each other. I mean, it's a nice selling point. It gives that match a little bit more oomph, just like Earl Hebner gives that match a little bit more oomph. And then you have a ringside enforcer and former Super Bowl giant champion Jay Alford's going to be outside a ring enforcer. Now, man, me and you, diehard Giant fans.
Let's go.
I've always wanted to have a Giant player or something involved with the Giants involved with one of my shows forever. So it's a really cool opportunity. I get to do that. Not only that, he's a Super Bowl champion. So I'm excited for that. So you put all those moving pieces together in that same match, and now you have someone that's coming up the ranks, right? Like, make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Rick Recon is coming up, and he's coming up quick.
Yeah.
And I think that he's made a really good name for himself last year. I think he's got some buzz behind him right now. And you have Bull James, right, the veteran, who doesn't want to move out of the way, who might not buy Rick Recon's hype. That's a match right there, man.
Yeah, it is, man. And Bull, you got to take him seriously. Shout to Bull for all the great work he did with the musical as well, the choreography. We'll talk about that briefly as well. Really, really great stuff, man. I'm really hyped for all this. And I got a Giants helmet that I get signed by as many players as I can, so I might have to bring that through as well, man. Very hyped for that. Tommy, I want to talk to you about this one, man. Not only because I'm contractually obligated at all times to talk about the Vicious One, but more importantly, this match you put together was announced last night. The ISPW Women's Title Super Six-Way match. I think this, and I'm not just saying this, man. I know everyone's think I'm being biased here, but you have 6 women who have really represented independent wrestling here in the Northeast, and on the scale at large. We know Vicious history with Mimi, or her long-term storytelling with Riley, her friendships with the like of Gabby Adina. Sometimes they're on the same side of the ring, sometimes they're on opposite sides of the ring. Her work with Tina in the musical, man. There's so much that could be done with this match. You know, if she's defending her title against 5 people, it's tough statistically. The odds are not in her favor. That being said, I am still a huge fan of this match. I think it's absolutely brilliant to shine this spotlight on women's wrestling and these women in particular, man. I'm surprised no one's done it sooner, honestly, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. What was your mindset here?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. Second of all, my mindset was exactly what you said. I want to showcase women's wrestling, which, my first show back, ISW's first show back, it was Vicky and Gabby in the main event for the ISW women's title with Heidi Lee Morgan as the special guest referee for the first show back. So I wanted to make sure that the girls were, the spotlight was on them on that show. And man, I mean, yes, these 6 girls are questionably the 6 biggest name independent women wrestlers in this area right now, that are not signed anywhere. So I think it's going to be a unique opportunity to have all 6 of them together. Wrestling fans that are, fans of these women on independent shows is another reason why I booked it, because I think you get all 6 of them together in one big match under those bright lights on a show filled with former WWE stars. It makes for a unique situation, I think, and I think that. I think this match will get a lot of hype between now and May, and I think it'll definitely be one of the highlighted attractions of the show.
Yeah, dude, very well said, and hats off to you again, Tommy. Not just saying that because you're here. I saw that last night, and I was like, you know what, man, like that is amazing. We're gonna have some good storytelling. Adina is on the mend right now. I think she's gonna be ready to go. I hate to say it, Tommy, but I always say the real winner is the fans. But let's be real, like Vicky's got it in the bag, man. She's beat all of them. You know what I'm saying, man? She's got this. All right. I'm just saying that so she cooks me some good food. Yeah, that's it. Tommy, I do want to just segue in this. I do want to talk about the musical a little bit, but real quick, segueing it into, we have a match with Vicky with Alpha Jr. taking on, I believe it's Tina and Bull at the next event, I believe on the 20th, man. This is very interesting. I am all about this one. Tell us a little bit about the booking here and how people can get tickets to that event as well.
Thank you, man. I appreciate all your compliments. And again, I try and think outside the box. So like everyone goes left, I'm going to go right all the time.
Love it.
All the time. So here's a situation where Bo James, who was the ISW heavyweight champion, just recently turned heel. He's with Maven now, right? So you have him as the hated heel, and you have Alpha Jr., who's on the other side. Now, again, you just mentioned the Last Match musical. These guys were in the Last Match musical along with Vicious Vicky and Tina San Antonio. And obviously, I'm a part of it. So I wanted to do something to showcase that musical, the Last Match musical. So all 4 of these guys will be in a mixed tag team match. Bull, the ISW champion, teaming with Tina San Antonio, managed by Maven, against Alpha Jr. and ISW women's champion Vicious Vicky in a mixed tag double championship match. So
that's right, the titles. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so if Bull loses, if Bull gets pinned, Alpha Jr. is the new champion. If Vicky gets pinned, Tina San Antonio is the new champion. So both titles are on the line in the main event mixed tag team match. I don't know if that's been done anytime recently.
I love it. I pop big for it. It's going to be great. And you mentioned the musical briefly. For those who don't know or haven't seen the musical yet, the Last Match musical has had a couple runs in Jersey City. And I told everyone, I'm like, this is a tough formula here. A rock wrestling musical. And I'm not just saying this, man, seamlessly done. We talked to Alpha about it. He used the words seamless, a guy who's traveled the world, been in the WF, and said it was a pinnacle of his career. It was a home run. We brought Dad. It was first ever wrestling experience. It was a great night. It was a great show. Hats off to Afa and Bull for training a lot of the actors who are not wrestlers. Hats off to you, Tommy, to Jeremiah, to everyone involved. Just talk to us a little bit about the musical for those who don't know, and if there's any news or anything coming up or any hopes or anticipation, because I think it's a home run.
Thank you, man. So, yeah, I'll give the backstory briefly on it. So this was probably last November, I would say. You know, now listen, man. Between my store, ISPW, my signings, 80s Wrestling Con, like, dude, like you see my DMs and my emails up. They're crazy. I'm running 3 separate brands at the same time. You know, so I got emails and gifts coming in from all these different accounts. Like my social media, I have Wrestling Collector, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I have 80s Wrestling on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I have 80s Wrestling Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I have a couple other different pages. Like I'm like, literally, like DMs are coming in from all the place all the time. So like. And then same thing with email address. I have an ISW email address. I have a Wrestling Collector email address. I have, 80s Wrestling email address. So, like, stuff's coming in all the time. But so, like, sometimes, like, I don't get back to stuff right away or I miss something. But this email comes through, and it's from Jeremiah James. And it caught my interest because of the headline of the email. So, like, I opened it right away, which I usually don't do. And not because I don't want to, just because I'm just crazy, swamped, busy, and in the weeds. But I read this email that they've been working on a concept for a wrestling musical for the last 3 years, and they got it down. Last couple of years, they got it down, and they're ready to, do something with it. And they were emailing me in regards to seeing if I would be interested in being a part of it. So, I mean, right away, dude, like I knew right away, like. In the year 2022, well, now 2023, like, it's hard to find concepts and things that haven't been done in this industry before. Yeah. So it was something that has never been done before, which automatically caught my attention and interest because it's unique and it's different. So I wound up calling them and we spoke and then that week I remember everything. So it was on the Thursday the email came through. So I told them Thursday. Now that weekend I had 4 events. I had a Friday ISPW show. I had a Saturday signing at the Wrestling Collector. Oh, maybe I had a Friday. Oh, no, sorry. I had a Friday, Saturday, back-to-back ISPW shows, signing Sunday at the Wrestling Collector, and a virtual signing on Monday. So I got 4 days in a row, and I remember I was going crazy getting ready for everything. I said, listen, man, this weekend's so good because I'm going crazy for like 4 events. Can we talk next week? He's like, well, next week I'm going to be in London, but I'll follow up with you the following week. I said, all right, cool. So like, I totally wasn't blowing it off. I was like overwhelmed. Yeah. And I didn't forget about it. Same thing. I was overwhelmed with my own stuff. So like 2 weeks goes by and he calls me. He's like, hey man, just wanted to make sure that we're still on for today. Now I looked at the phone. The area code was like a California number, so I didn't know he lived in New Jersey. So like, I was totally unprepared. For him to come to my store that day. I'm like, hey man, come on in, so he comes in and, obviously you spoke to him. He's been on your podcast before. Extremely super cool guy. Yeah. Intelligent guy. Someone that you can freaking talk to all day long and get along with instantly. Like, so he was awesome. So like, he pulls out a PowerPoint presentation, and then he showed me playbills from his previous plays that he was associated or did. I'm like, and as this is all going on, man, I'm saying to myself in my head, legit. Yeah. I'll go, oh shit, this is legit. So like I completely switched gears. Not that I wasn't something like that. I was, but like, I paid a lot more attention then. This is legit, and I knew right away, dude. I knew right away that it was going to be something big. And to answer your previous question about the future of it, there's a lot of things in the works. I will say that there will be a big future for the Last Match musical. I'm sure that news will be dropping in the upcoming months, direction that it's going to go. But yeah, man, you were there, so man. And also another thing, like for me last year, my father died. And he died a week after, not even a week, 6 days after 80s Wrestling Con. Now, that last year's 80s Wrestling Con, you were there, man. It was packed.
Yeah.
It's like it was like going from the high, like, and then 6 days later, my dad died. So, like, literally in less than a week, I went from the highest of highs to literally the lowest of lows. And, like, man, that's a lot of emotion to go through in a 6 day span, you know? So, things were rough for a couple months, man. I was depressed. I was bummed out. I mean, I still am, but I'm doing much better now than I was. But what helped me bring me back to life, honestly, was that first showing of the Last Match musical and that they had in Jersey City, man. And like me being there and like knowing that I was associated and a part of this, and like just seeing how awesome the production was and the show was, and it was like, holy shit, this is like it put life back into me. Honestly, it really did. And it opened my eyes, you know, like, holy shit, man, this is like so cool that I'm a part of this. Like, I'm literally the one that connected. You know, it was their idea and their vision, and it was brilliant. But you know, with my help, we were able to connect the two worlds together. And I now know, no matter where this goes, that I was the one responsible for connecting those two worlds together. It's really cool.
I absolutely love it, man, and I'm sure and I'm not just saying this, like, I'm sure your pops is proud of you, man. Like, you knocked it out of the park. For me to go to that and then say, hey, I want to bring my dad, and he doesn't know that wrestling world. You know, he's very supportive of me and Vicky and all that. And for him, he loves theater and stuff like that. So for me to want to bring him speaks volumes. I think that's the ultimate compliment. Because I brought him, we walked in the door. Oh, hey, Dad, this is Thunder Rosa. Oh, hey, Dad, this is Dave LaGreca. Like, and he doesn't know that world. It was something I'll never forget, man. And I'm sure your dad is very proud of you. And I'm just saying, the Giants are doing really good right now, man. So he's looking out for sure, man. How far do you think the Giants are going?
Hey, man, listen, you saw how close that Viking game was last time, right?
Yes, I did.
And you looked this morning on the Vegas line, they're only +3 Giants, so obviously they're in it. So, I mean, hey, man, listen.
I like this coach. Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
I like this coach, man.
Yeah, man, I do too. And I'll tell you what, I like Daniel Jones. I really, really do. I hope that they'd be stupid not to resign him, man. I really think that he's going to be special in a couple of years.
I love it, man, and I can't, I wasn't sure at first, but I was the same way with Eli, man. He was always getting sacked, or he was always running out the clock. I'm like, I don't know, and then he won us 2 Super Bowls, one of the best of all time in my book.
They got to get a line. That's the
it.
issue, you know. I'll tell you what, like this team, you know, I can see. I mean, I don't want to jinx I don't want to jinx the Giants.
Yeah,
but like. We're talking Giants for a second, right? So like,
yeah,
they were like the underdogs both times they won the Super Bowl, where they got the one time was the playoffs, the wild card spot, and they upset after upset after upset, and they did it. Man, hey, anything is possible, right? Anything is possible, one game at a time.
Yes, exactly. That's my mindset too. And you know what? They're fun to watch for the first time in a couple years. They really are.
Oh, yes.
Fun to watch.
I'll tell you what, man. It's so like it feels so good. So like, you know, usually by the second week of October, your season's done for the year. We just sat there and watched, you know, the rest of the games for the rest of the year. Like now, like even last night's game where they they almost came from behind and beat Eagles. At least they were competitive. I'm happy they took Jones out of the game to let him rest up for this week. But yeah, man, their games are way more exciting. This is the first time since 2016 that, you know, we're in the playoffs. Like, I mean, this Sunday, man, I can only imagine what the vicious one's going to be cooking this Sunday, bro.
That's right.
I'm about to take a ride down the Parkway, brother.
You are very welcome, and all joking aside, you are always welcome, Tommy. And I will tell her that, and I'm sure we will have a feast for sure, man. Tommy, I do want to be respectful of your time, but real quick before I want to run down this final card for 80s Wrestling Con, I wanted to ask you this, man. I thought it was very cool. I see a lot of time on the independents, a lot of people have their rosters, right? You have an ISPW core. I think it's very, very cool. I always remind promoters, like I'm always promoting for the talent, like, hey, these guys are independent contractors, and I think a lot of promoters don't see it that way. That being said, I will give you credit here. I see a lot of the talent almost kind of say like, hey, I work for Tommy Fierro. Hey, I am an ISPW guy. Tommy Fierro does this for me. You have been so good to Vicky. I've seen Rick Recon post statuses about, and I think that's how you truly earn a roster. Is you get it from them. I think a lot of people like to put their stamp on people, and I think it works the other way, man. And when you earn that respect, you've certainly earned it from me. Everything you've done for Vicky and a lot of these up and comers, mixing them with stars of the 80s or 2000s and all that stuff. It's very cool to see. We're appreciative of that. That being said, man, you are always making moves. We've seen the likes of a good friend of mine. I've played him out a few times, Mr. Eric Corvus, the international shining star, Ray Calitri. That's my guy. That guy is money. What was your thought process here in bringing in some new blood, trying out some new people?
Just, you want new toys to play with, you keep playing with the same toys all the time. I'm not tired of it, but it's cool to mix in a couple of other guys, and sometimes like certain guys, because they are independent contractors, they might be booked somewhere else. And when the regular guys I use are booked somewhere else, I actually enjoy that because it gives me an opportunity to give different people a look that I really wouldn't have been able to, So like, for example, Bulldog Pittman, I used him on the last show. I fell in love with him. I think he was awesome. So like, you get that opportunity when there's a spot, and then, hopefully, 2023, we run, more events and give more opportunities to people that are around,
I love that, man, and I won't even say off record because we're recording, but obviously I'm close with a lot of independent wrestlers, and I get a lot of like, oh, how can I get an ISPW? Like, I really want to be an ISPW. So that speaks volumes to you and the work you put in, man. So I got to give you your flowers there. Very well deserved. You're doing big things. You're going against the grain, which I personally like. In my journey, I kind of like going against the grain with things, and I love what you're doing. Real quick, Tommy, I'm gonna run down the match card for May 6th. The Rock and Wrestling event after 80s Wrestling Con. And do you want to queue up, the guests one more time for 80s Wrestling Con?
Sure.
Okay, real quick. So these are the matches that have been announced so far. We just talked about the ISPW Women's Title Super Six-Way with Adina, Gabby, the Vicious One, Tina San Antonia, Riley Shepard, and our one of our faves, Notorious Mimi. We've seen her on NXT. We have Crowbar versus Davey Boy Smith, Eugene versus Fandango, Brian Kendrick versus Danny Morrison, who I believe is on the mend, right? Is he coming off?
That might be his first match back.
Okay, good for him. Well, that's good to hear, man. And I think he's doing a general manager role at your next event, so that should be very interesting.
Yes, sir.
Carlito versus Val Venus, Powers of Pain versus The Now. I am here for that. Matt Stryker, who is also a phenomenal commentator, versus Justin Carino. Snitsky, it'd be good to see him, versus Alpha Jr. And as we mentioned, the ISPW title, Bull James versus Rick Recon with Earl Hebner as a referee. The Giants Super Bowl champion, Jay Alford, as ringside enforcer. And Dave LaGreca handcuffed to Maven. That's worth the price of admission, man. Is there more matches on the... I mean, that might be enough right there, man.
There should be one more. I haven't even announced it yet. Maybe I can make it an exclusive for the podcast.
Ooh, BCP. Tommy, you're speaking my language. BCP exclusive. What do you got, bro?
This is an exclusive. It's going to probably drop. It wasn't going to drop today. Probably drop tomorrow.
Okay.
Or the following day once I get all the participants in it.
Ooh.
But I can't announce the match and the concept. So we are going to have obviously it's the 35th anniversary of the Royal Rumble, correct?
Yes, that's right.
So we are going to do I can't call it Royal Rumble or else I'll get sued.
Yeah.
So we're going to call it a Roll the Dice Rumble. It is going to be a 10-man Rumble, Royal Rumble style rules.
Okay. For
the ISPW Tri-State Championship. So Michael Mars will have to defend his Tri-State title in a Royal Rumble style match against 9 other participants. And we will definitely have one or two surprises in that Rumble as well. So that is going to be the final match announced for the main show at 80s Wrestling Con.
That's a big announcement, man. That's pretty good. That's good enough for me. Everyone loves Rumble-style events, man, and that's great. And now we got a title on the line. The odds not in Michael Mars' favor. We'll see who's in there, man. He could squeak it out.
Which why it's being called the Roll the Dice Rumble.
Yeah, man. High risk. And Tommy, real quick before we get out of here, man, get the shameless promo in. Tell everyone once again some of the people that are coming, because I know a lot of the intense collectors, as you know, love to come to these events. It's a very rare opportunity, man. And I met a lot of people from out of state. I met people from other countries, man, and that's what it's all about. Is truly amazing. So let everyone know who they have the opportunity to meet and get autographs from one more time.
Sure, and I appreciate that. Thank you, man. So we're going to have Bret the Hitman Hart, the Beverly Brothers, Demolition, Dory Funk Jr., Dr. D. David Schultz, the Killer Bees, Lanny Poffo, the Lonnie Kai, Magnum TA, Manny Fernandez, Mr. Hughes, Nikita Koloff, the original Midnight Express, Papa Shango, Skinner, the Powers of Pain, Tommy Rich, Tony Atlas, Virgil, and Wendy Richter. Again, a ton of special attractions. The 80s Wrestling Lifetime Achievement Award for the Macho Man Randy Savage, the Kids of 80s Wrestling Q&A. You can draw a picture with Tony Atlas, live edition of the Busted Open radio show. An 80s wrestling. Oh, this is one thing we didn't mention. I mentioned the karaoke, the Jeopardy, and the Family Feud, but brother, you're a Jersey boy, so you know tricky trays are gigantic in this area. Tricky tray, for those that don't know what a tricky tray is, they're a lot of people do them for fundraisers for the organizations. It's a bunch of different items, and there's little, baskets in front of, or little cups in front of each different prize, and you put your ticket in, or tickets if you want to win that badly, into which bucket you want, and then they pick the ticket out.
Ooh.
And if your number's called, you win that prize. So we're going to do an 80s wrestling tricky tray with a ton of original 80s wrestling merchandise that you would see back in the days in the WWF catalog in the WWF magazine. So that's going to be another really cool thing we're doing at 80s Wrestling Con. For tickets for 80s Wrestling Con, or the meet and greets, or Rock and Wrestling following 80s Wrestling Con, you can head over to 80swrestlingcon.com. Once again, that's 80swrestlingcon.com.
Love it, Tom. I'm even more hyped now, man. It's like a wrestling fan's birthday party, man. It's amazing, guys. Make sure you get your tickets. As someone who's been at some of these events, man, I can totally vouch for Tommy, vouch for the events. Tommy, thank you for everything you do for the independent wrestlers here. Thank you for everything you do for the Vicious One. Thank you for everything you've done for me, man. You were one of the first ones to give me that producer title, which has certainly helped give me some other opportunities, man. I'm very appreciative of that. And just thank you for your time, man, and just continued success moving forward. Thank you, Tommy, so much. Appreciate that.
Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
All the love, Tommy. And guys, like we always say here on the BCP, everyone stay safe, stay positive, take care of each other. We out. Peace.
Hello, I'd like to welcome you to paradise, where everyone is riding on a satellite.